Good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leonie, aka Stitching Noni, and this is my corner of YouTube. So this channel is my Flosstube channel, which documents my journey with my cross stitch. So today is Tuesday, the 3rd of February, 2026. I keep thinking today is Wednesday. All day yesterday, I kept thinking it was Tuesday. So I don't know what's happening. It really is true that when you're not working, you sort of lose track of the days a bit. I used to have a terrible problem when I was working because I would always be working sort of towards the future because, you know, you'd be booking stuff for flights or whatever. So I used to always struggle with dates and things then, but I'm losing track of time. But that's okay. It's okay. I got plenty of it. So it's fine. So anyway, we won't start rambling now because otherwise I'll be here for another hour, and I have a feeling I'm going to be here for an hour anyway. So as I mentioned, today is Tuesday, the 3rd of February 2026, and I'm back for a weekly update. This is Flosstube number 74. So the weekly update will cover my stitching from the 27th of January through to yesterday, the 2nd of February. In the week that has just gone, my numbers are, I stitched on 9 projects and I got a total of 3,556 stitches in for the week. So not as good as last week, which was just over 4,000, but better than I thought, and actually better than I have done for a couple of weeks already this year. So reasonably happy, second highest week so far. Now, I also had one new start, which I'll show you towards the back end of the session, and I had 3 finishes, so I am very, very happy for that. So yeah, so 1 start but 3 finishes, and you'll see the finishes as we go through the whips. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly tell you where I'm at for February, and then I'm going to run through my January stats. So at the moment for February, we've only had obviously 2 stitching days. I'm at 1,188 stitches and I've worked on 4 projects. And in that time I had a finish. So my new start was actually technically in January, and 2 of my finishes were technically in January, and I had a finish on the, what was Monday? Whatever the Monday was, the 1st. So yes, so really, no. Yes, Sunday was the 1st. So I told you I'm losing track of time. So where am I at for the year so far? So for 2026, I am sitting at 16,048 stitches with having worked on 19 projects, 4 starts and 5 finishes. So I'm ahead of the game as far as that goes. So I'm really pleased about that. Now, this is where we're going to run through very quickly my January stats. I'm not going to show you specifically the actual projects as such, because some of them will be in my update when we go through in a minute. So if I get creative, what I might try and do is just do a little picture with what it was like at the beginning of the month and what it was like at the end of the month. So you can sort of see it as I'm talking numbers. That depends on how far I can get today with editing. But we'll just see how we go. So what we did in total for January, which I'm mighty impressed with, is I managed to get 14,860 stitches in and worked on 18 projects. Now, if I had twigged that I was that close to 15,000, I might have had to just tweak it a bit and get to 15,000, but that would have meant probably on the 31st of January staying up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't think puppy dog likes that. She 9:30, 10 o'clock bedtime, off we go. So yeah, so for January I had 4 starts and 4 finishes, so that was good. So the starts were obviously the HAED sale, Fairytale, Home for the Holidays, Winter Welcome, and Come In for a Spell, which you're going to see in a minute. And the finishes were Give Thanks, Kangaroo Santa, Bentley, and Red Berry Wreath, which you'll see in a minute as well. So out of that 14,860, I actually did 12,471 on my full coverage projects. So happy with that, really happy with that. Even though some of them only got a small amount of numbers, I'm still overall happy with that. So I'm going to run through very quickly what each whip got for the month. The ones that I'm showing soon, you're not going to see in this little collage of pictures that I'm going to put up. So you'll see them in a minute. But the ones that you are not seeing now, because I haven't worked on them this week, I will just put a picture up. So the 2026 HAED sale Fairytale by Dragon Muse, charted by HAED, I put in 5,525 stitches. I started that on the 1st of January, so I am super happy because I blitzed my monthly goal of just over 3,500. So really happy. So you'll see that shortly. A brush with magic story keep. I only put in 738 stitches, so that's full coverage. It's a HAED and the artwork is by Lisa Parker. My 6 portals, the full 6 portals, I worked on portal 6 in January. Now this is a chart from Paine Free Crafts, and the artwork is Rose Catherine Kahn. I managed to put in 1,592 stitches into the 6th portal, and you'll see that shortly because I've worked on it for the last couple of days as well. So you'll see that shortly. Flamingo in Flowers, which is charted by Stitches So Beautiful, and the artwork is Eder Rosa. You'll see that shortly, but I did put in 1,420 stitches in January. Haunted House. So Haunted House is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart, and the artist is Donna Gelsinger. I will put a picture up. I only did 301 stitches in January. Yeah. Long Winter's Nap is also a Donna Gelsinger artwork and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. 312 stitches. So could have done more. We'll try and do more. World Travel Bookshelf, also a Heaven and Earth design charting. The artwork is Aimee Stewart, and I put in 1,115 stitches in that, so I'm really quite pleased about that one. That will come out again in the next couple of days because I need to do some more work on that for some prompts. Story Keep Wine Shelf, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork is Aimee Stewart. I put in 252 stitches into that for January. You will see that shortly because I've put some stitches in for February as well. Promise of Spring, which is non-full coverage. So we're going to go through the non-full coverage now. So Promise of Spring, which is a cottage garden samplings design, 131 stitches. Home for the Holidays, which was a new start. The designer for that is Cozy DH, and I only put 100 stitches in for that. That's my temperature stitching for January, so I still need to put some more stitches in that for January. And then that will just go into my whip rotations. At some point will come out to be finished this year with a bit of luck. Proverbs 3 and 4, which was Paolo Giabletti, I think. I can never remember how to pronounce that name, but that's the one with the cat on the nest that's hatching the eggs. I put in 102 stitches for that one in January, but I haven't touched it so far in February. It will come out because I'm using that for either Bake Off or Sewing Bee, one of them. Winter Welcome. Now, Winter Welcome is a Joan Elliott. This was a new start in January, and I'm using this for one of the semi-sane events. I only put in 379 stitches. Now, my goal for that is to try and get about 1,000 stitches a month in it. So I need to work on that. What I was going to try and do is have, say, 10 days in the month and do about 100 stitches a day to get my 1,000 stitches on that one. Kangaroo Santa was a finish in January, and I got 403 stitches in to finish that. I started that in December last year. Give Thanks was a finish also in January, and I put 178 stitches in that in January to finish it. Now, Bentley. So Bentley you will see shortly. I put in 468 stitches in for that one in January. Red Berry Wreath. I will also be showing you that one shortly. I put in 422 stitches in January. And then I had a new start towards the end of the month. I think it was either the 30th or the 31st. And this one is one called Come In For A Spell. It's by Rhona Norrie. I put in 206 stitches for this. When we get to it, I'll talk to you about it. So you'll see that shortly. So that's my roundup. And if I've been really clever, you've sort of seen the pictures float in and out, if I've been really clever. If I haven't, you won't have seen anything whatsoever. It really just depends on how clever I can be when I come to do it all. So yeah. Mouthful of my cold cup of tea. Our water's off, so I filled the kettle up so that I can get another cup of tea in about an hour when I finish it. Because apparently there's some water leaks around the village. And so they've turned our water off for the day. So I have got sinks full of water. I have got a jug full of water. I've got the kettle full of water. I've got a bucket full of water. Hopefully it's not off for too long because, you know, you always seem to want more water than what you save for the day. Right, so are you ready to go frolicking through my whips? So I'm going to show you the similar order to what I've started to do now, where anything that doesn't belong to my stitching games will be shown up front, and then if it's a stitching game, it will then go where the stitching game information comes into it. So the first one we've got up is the HAED Sale 2026 Fairytale by Dragon Muse, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Now, this one is my daily stitch, and I have stitched on it every day since the 1st of January when I started it in 2026. So really impressed that I have continued doing this, and I am aiming for a minimum of 100 stitches a day. Aiming for 100 to 150 stitches a day on it. And sometimes if I'm really busy, say like today, by the time I've recorded this, put everything away, done my editing, get it uploaded, I will have a very limited amount of time this afternoon to stitch. So I may end up just pulling this out and stitching on for the whole day and not try anything else, but it just depends. So sometimes I've got 200 to 300 stitches on it and sometimes I'm not, which is why I'm so far ahead of my goal. So where we're at, when you saw this in my last video, I was sitting at 4,519 stitches or 4.85%. I have put in 1,350 stitches so far, so in the last week, and 344 of those stitches were actually in February. So as I mentioned, I put in 5,500 for January. I am now sitting at 5,869 stitches completed, which is 6.62%. The goal for this is to get the 6 pages, which will be around about 45,000 stitches, and I've still got 38,876 to go. Yeah, so my monthly goal for this is actually about 3,700, depending on the month obviously and how it goes. The size of this is 225 wide by 394 high, which gives you a total of 88,650 stitches. It's stitched on 25 count easy guide, 1/1 full cross with DMC. And charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, artist is Dragon Muse, if I didn't already say that. So what I have been doing is I have been extending out, and I did this, which to me looks like a set of lungs. So I'm gonna have to fill that in real quick because it's sort of every time I look at it, I think lungs. And I've also been trying to fill in here so that I will very soon have a page finish. I so love working on this. There we go. So you'll be able to see everything I've done, and hopefully I've put in a picture from what it looked like last week. Very happy with that. I'm absolutely loving the way this is starting to come out now that I've started filling in these bits and pieces. It's funny, I was working on this last night and in this area a bit as well, and then I sat back and I went, oh, I can actually see something appearing. So besides the lungs. Never be able to unsee that now, right? You see it, never be able to unsee it. So yes, so quite happy about that. If I can keep that up, bearing in mind what sometimes happens to destroy your plans, but if I can keep it up, I should hit that 6 pages without any problems this year. Next one. So 6 portals is my next one. So this is 6 portals, the full version of 6 portals. The artist is Rose Catherine Khan, and it is charted by Paine Free Crafts. My plan of attack for this massive project is to work on 1 portal a month and then just switch to the next portal. January I was working on portal 6, and February I'm working on portal 5. So I did basically, because I finished in portal 6 at the end of the year, I didn't want to move the Q-snap and come back to portal 1, so I'm now going to work 6 through to 1 for the next 6 months, and then from July to December I'll go 1 to 6, and then we'll evaluate next year what we're doing. I'll probably keep doing the same thing, I think. So I've done 448 stitches this week, and did I do it all? Yes, I have done it all on portal 5, which is this one. So so that's portal 6, just here, and then we're now working on portal 5, which is this one. So I'm going to just bring this in about like that, so you can see I've been working in just this lighter one here. So my aim hopefully is to bring portal 5 down to about here, if we can get that done. Hopefully that worked and you could see that. So now I'm just going to hold it sort of like this so I can come over here. So I started this one on the 2nd of November 2025, and it is on a 32 count easy guide 1/1 full cross. The chart size is 1,206 wide, so that's the edge of it, by 800 high, which gives you a total of 964,800 stitches required to complete this beauty. I last showed this to you the video before last, and at that point I was at 5,483 stitches, or 0.56%. I am now at 5,886 stitches, or 0.61%. And the total stitches I've done for 2026 is 2,040. So January, portal 1, and now February is portal 2. So I'm hoping, portal 5, sorry, February is portal 5, not portal 2. So what I would like to try and do is work on this on a Sunday or over the weekend and get about 500 stitches a week on it that way. The monthly goal, I had sort of set a very high monthly goal of the 3,700, because I was going to try and stitch on this every day for the month and do between 100 to 150 stitches a day. That's not going to happen. My 2026 goal on this is 5%, which would mean I'd have to get it up to 48,000 stitches. I've still got 42,000 stitches and change to go. So yeah, I don't think that is going to happen, but I'm not going to say that it won't, but I'm still going to try and work on this on the weekend at least, and make this a focus on Saturday or Sunday, because I love this and I just want to work on it all the time. But all my other whips are crying out for attention. But yeah, I do love it. I love it. So yeah, so portal 5 is the focus for February. Let's see how far we go. And then I will have to move the Q-snap because that's portal 4 there. But yeah, very, very impressed with this. So happy, that's portal 6, portal 5. Hopefully you could see that, because it's very hard to maneuver such a big Q-snap. I have debated whether I find some scroll rods for that, but I don't know if I'm going to get a set of scroll rods that are big enough. because I haven't trimmed my fabric down for that. I guess I probably could, but I'll just stick with the Q-snap. It'll be fine. Right, the next one. Next full coverage is my Friday stitch. This is Flamingo in Flowers, charted by A Stitches So Beautiful, and the artist is Eder Rosa. Sidestep. A Stitches So Beautiful have just released a new Eder Rosa. I might have to buy it. It's an Egyptian queen with in her face, so like a Nefertiti, and in her face is like an Egyptian scene. I'll put up a picture. Yeah. But they've also, this is another side step, I've also got a new artist on board, Brynna T Art Designs, I think it's called. And I've just fallen in love with one of hers. In fact, I've fallen in love with 3 of hers. Oh, never mind. Back to Flamingo and Flowers. Started on the 6th of June, 2025. This is stitched on 25 count easy guide 1/1 full cross. Chart size is 160 wide, so that wide, by 400 high, so a total of 64,000 stitches. You last saw this in the last video. At that point, I had completed 10,613 stitches, and it was sitting at 16.58%. In January, I completed 1,420 stitches, and since my last video, I completed 260 stitches on the 31st of January. So far for 2026, it's sitting at 1,420. I will stitch it again on Friday, so there's no stitches yet for February in this. Monthly goal is about 1,800 stitches, so I'm a little bit down already, but give and take, depends on what's going on. I'm not stressed about that goal. It was just a goal because I would like to try and get this to 50% by the end of the year, if that happens. That would be 32,000 stitches in total, which means I've still got to do 21,237 stitches. So I'm currently sitting at 10,873 stitches, or 16.99%. Now, again, limited time on, in fact, I didn't stitch on it on Friday. I stitched on it on Saturday because I didn't get to it on Friday, one thing and another. And I basically sat in here and did all of the dark blue. Did I do anything else? No, I think I finished a black thread out that was there, but that's it. All I'm doing is bringing down, I think it's 939. That's it. Because I needed to get my 250 plus in for the week to get in the competition. I'm using this for the Stitches So Beautiful sale that happens every month, and the minimum requirement is to put in 250 full stitches or 510 stitches into a Stitches So Beautiful chart every week, and post, and also to send the email to acknowledge that you are in the competition. And that way you go into a draw, but you also receive whatever the free chart is for the month. And I can't remember what it is this month for February. But yeah, I love it. Just absolutely love this. I've got to try and find some more challenges to use this for, because I tend to not use this for any of my challenges, but I tend to just stick to Friday stitching on it. But love it. So, so beautiful. Amazing. That flower. Oh my goodness. Yes, so I could sit there and stare at that all day. Okie dokie, so that's all of the full coverage that is not related to a stitching game. Now, I will go through the non-full coverage in a second, but just as a quick flick through, because we are going to show you a new start in a second. So far for the year, I have, as I mentioned, 5 finishes. So 3 of them have been in the last week, so I'm going to show you them shortly. And I've had 4 new starts, and 1 of those has been in the last week. So where we're going to go to now is the new start. I will have to put a picture up because it basically comes out of an online version of the Just Cross Stitch magazine for October 2022. And this is a design called Come In For A Spell. It's only a little tiny orney, and the designer is Rhona Norrie, under the company name that she goes by, Tangled Threads and Things. I haven't done a Rhona Norrie for donkeys years. I used to love doing her stuff. I am stitching this on 28 count casual Dawn Light from Stitches and Spice. Now, this piece of fabric I actually had on another one that I went through my finishes box the other day, and I've tidied it all up, ready to start pulling some out to show like previous finishes at the end of a weekly update if I have like only a short update. And I found the, was it Beach Cottage, I think, from Little House, and I had all this fabric at the end. I went, oh, this would be perfect for my Come For A Spell. So I chopped it off and grabbed it for this. So I've started in the middle, so it means I'm using like all of the fabric when I probably don't really need to, but never mind. So this is my start. So it doesn't look too bad on screen. So as I mentioned, this is stitched on 28 count Casual Dawn Light from Stitches and Spice, which is a dyer from Australia who no longer dyes and hasn't done for many, many years. I started it on the 31st of January 2026. So brand spanking new start, 206 stitches. In the design, the lettering is a mix of Krynic and DMC, so one of each. And it is number 4, but I didn't have that particular Krynic, but I had the equivalent Treasure Braid, so I've used Treasure Braid. I'm not very happy with it, and I don't think if I come up, will it focus if I get my face out the way? Not really. But I don't know. It doesn't look too bad on camera. So I did that lettering, and then I came down here to the cauldron and just started to stitch on the cauldron because I just really was not happy with the way they were stitching. So I'm not 100% certain. I do have the, I think it's 001 High Luster in a blending filament for Krynic. So I'm wondering if that might look better. I don't know. So when I pull this out next time, I'm going to do another letter using the Krynic blending filament and see if it just gives you the highlight sheen instead of being overpowering by such a shiny silver. Don't know. Anyway, so why did I start this? The reason I started this is for Whip Warriors Seek and Stitch for January, you had to have a whip with a cauldron. I don't have any whips anymore with a cauldron. I'm very low on my Halloween whips, so I've got to start doing some more Halloween whip starts, I think. So I did go through a number of magazines, and I remembered that I'd saved this a long time ago, but I just didn't know where I'd saved it to. Lucky I found it again in the magazine. So yeah, so that was my new start for 206 stitches in January. What I'm sort of thinking is this won't come out again now until October. I may pull it out if I need to do something Halloween-y for a prompt, or it works for something, right? So I might bring it back out again. But when I do bring it out, my plan is to have a play with that blending filament and see whether that looks better. So, because what was it? It was PB04, so it's quite a shiny. Now, I don't know whether the Krynic is not as shiny. It might be a flatter color. Maybe that's what's the issue. I don't know. But it looks okay on camera. It's just that I don't like it when I'm looking at it. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that was my new start. So 206 stitches. So the goal would be to finish that this year if I can bring it out in October and finish it. But yeah. Okay, so stitching games. This will be quick. My ashes stitching, zilch, nada, nothing. Haven't done a single thing. So we are still outstanding. I need to start that blasted seagull before it squawks its head off and pinches me chips. So I will try and get that started this week. And then, so I'm still going to have a number of stitches outstanding because obviously my seagull is not going to complete my 2,000 odd stitches I need to do on Australia. And the World Travel Bookshelf I'm going to try and bring out again in the next couple of days and finish off that 1,700 stitches this month. So that'll be good. So there's been no change on that one. Now, temperature stitching. This is where it gets fun. So for my temperature stitching, the idea, I do not, to be honest, I don't know who started this originally. I don't know if it was a Jessie Marie and a Siska Stitches idea around the same time, or whether Siska started it and Jessie Marie adapted it, or whatever. But I know there's been temperature stitching going on for a couple of years now across different floss tubes. Other stitches have adapted it to suit themselves. I am doing 4 categories, and Jen the Caffeinated Crafter is also doing similar. So I was quite pleased that I wasn't the only one doing that one. I saw her plans video because I'd been planning this last year. So my 4 categories though are slightly different. So my categories are mini kits and freebies. So all of those little kits that I got from magazines that I started back in 2015 and 2016 for different January challenges, I'm knocking them off as part of this. I have a full coverage focus for the month. So the whips that haven't been touched for a while or get very minimal amount of work on for one reason or other is on a wheel. So every month I will flick the wheel and see what happens. There is the Christmas Orny new start every month. So every month I will be having a new start, and that is linked to the Just Cross Stitch sale group on Facebook, which I'm a member of. And then I have another wheel for haven't touched in years. And there I've put on them some whips that, you know how you get a mental block about a whip? You're just like, I don't think I want to work on that. Well, guess what? They're on that wheel, and they are going to be, if I don't want to work on them after I've done a month of temperature stitching on it, they're going to be UFO'd. So plan is to get them finished or just fall back in love with them. If I don't fall back in love with them, they're UFO'd for whatever reason. So in January, I had Bentley, I had Cat Race, I had Home for the Holidays as my new start, and I had Red Berry Wreath in those 4 categories. The goal is to do 50 stitches for each time it turns up in the projected highs. So I allocated the projected highs, the last number of the temperature. 0, 4 and 9 goes to mini kits, 1, 5 and 8 goes to full coverage, 2 and 6 goes to the Christmas Orny, and 3 and 7 goes to haven't touched in years. So the aside for that is that the full coverage stitches, so all of those stitches can be used for any of my prompts in any of my Facebook groups that I'm working on, and they don't get like they're not plus whatever stitches I might be using for anything else. It just don't get them done. So I basically have done all of the January one except for Home for the Holidays. So I still owe that one 100 stitches. So I'll get that done at some point in the next week, and then that will go away. And it may very well move to the other wheel, or another wheel. I might end up sort of adjusting the haven't touched for years to being get this finished or something like that. So because I don't have many whips on that haven't touched in years. So once I've gone through those, yeah, I'll need some more whips. So what did I work on? So I have worked on the January ones, as I mentioned. So we're going to go through them and then we'll talk February. So Red Berry Wreath. So Red Berry Wreath I worked on. I'll put a picture up. It came from a Just Cross Stitch magazine, and it was from the Christmas Ornament issue 2018. I started this on the 18th of February 2019, and I'm very happy to say I've finished it. I finished this on the 30th of January 2026. Now, glaringly obvious, I have not put any ornament in the middle. Oops, I haven't put a charm in the middle because I actually don't want to put a charm in the middle. I think it looks quite pleasant without it. I think the charm, and I didn't have anything suitable anyway, so I would have had to go and find something suitable. But I think it looks absolutely fine without the charm. So that's done. Now, to finish this, I only had to put in another 104 stitches, which was basically the Smyrnas, and I think I had to finish off a couple of I have to finish off a couple of little green leaves. I think I had to finish some green leaves as well. So the leaves are in leaf stitch or whatever it's called, and their little berries are Smyrnas in this case. The border I did in Jodery Designs Eggy Bread, and Weeks Dye Works Juniper is the green, and 815 are the Smyrnas. This was only obviously very small, 39 by 39. It's stitched on 28 count even weave coffee tea dyed. So one piece of fabric that I coffee tea dyed. I'm hoping, I'm pretty sure that this bit here makes it that that's the right way up, because guess what? Doesn't matter which way you go, it's the same. So when you saw it in the last video, I had completed in total 451 stitches. So I put in 104 last week, which brought it up to 468 stitches. So in January, I did 422 stitches to complete this. I'm really pleased I finished it in January. That was my aim, was to get it finished in January. So done and dusted. Don't think I have to tell you any more about that. And to do that, I think I still had like 30 stitches left on the temperature listing for that particular category, but I thought I'm not going to worry about bringing another one out just for that. It's not worth it. I'll probably pick it up at some point anyway. So then on the 30th, I finished that in the morning, and I'm like, let's go for it. Let's try one more finish, shall we? So we did. So we did one more finish. We got Bentley finished. So Bentley also, this is in the mini kit freebie, and I think I just made a lot of noise, so I do apologize when I did that. So this was just a little mini freebie kit from the Cross Stitch Crazy magazine, issue 138 in June of 2010. I started this on the 22nd of January 2016 and finished this on the 30th of January 2026. Now, I haven't put it in here, but this is what it should look like if I do anything with the little mount. So it came with the mount, right? So he's finished. He is now all finished. I only needed to put in 71 stitches of back stitch and a couple of French knots to finish him. It is stitched on 14 count Eder with whatever the threads were that came in the kit. So the kit had the Eder as well. So in total, for 2026, I stitched 468 stitches on this one to get it completely finished. And there's about 830 odd stitches in it in total for the kit. So very, very happy that that's done. That's another one that just sat there and I'm like, I'm never going to finish this. But I did. So what I will probably do is get its little mount together and with some double-sided tape. I've got an actual file with these sorts of ones that I haven't turned into cards or something, and I just double-sided tape them onto a piece of paper and slide them into a portfolio book, I suppose you could call it. So that's probably what will happen with that at some point. And at some point, I'll show you all of those as well when I do a bit of a finish parade of some description, because they're all sitting in there. So that basically completed my January stitching for temperature. So cat race, I was well and truly over what I needed to do for the temperature. As I mentioned, I've still got to do 100 on home for the holidays, which I will get done. So then I did the wheel the other day for my last video, which drew what I needed to do for February. So in February, the mini kits is Minnie Mouse. The full coverage is Minnie Paris Morning. Santa's Express will be the new start for the Christmas orney, and haven't touched for years was Holly House. So Holly House is another ornament from the Just Cross Stitch magazine. So that's this one here. And I'll probably don't need it because I've got it done. It's finished. I didn't have very many stitches to do on this one. I ended up doing, I think, 170 stitches to complete it on the 1st of February. So I started this on the 19th of February 2019 and finished it on the 1st of February 2026. It is also stitched on 28 count even weave coffee tea dyed. Now it comes from the Just Cross Stitch ornament issue from the Christmas issue in 2018. Sorry, 2018? No, 2008 it must be. 2008. Not 2018. I'll just update that because that's wrong. Now, glaringly obvious on the cover photo, they've got the date of 2008. I started stitching the 2-0 and I looked at it and I'm like, I don't like this. It don't look right. The 2 was odd. And then I was thinking, how am I going to do the 6? So I sort of did a little bit of a fiddle around and I could not get it to fit. So I just pulled it out and I'm sticking a fork in it and saying it's done. Also, you may notice that I've stuffed up here. So what I hadn't realised is that one I had and that one are stuffed. And I didn't realise till I was coming down here and I went, why is that so close to the roof? And I said to myself, you're not pulling it all out and starting again. You're just going to keep going. There was less to do. And the beads, and I went, nah, who cares? It's done. I want it done. So then I beaded and the beads. So I went and grabbed a thing of beads. So years ago at one of the craft shows, I bought like a mixed bag of red and green beads for Christmas. So I'm pulling them out because I could have gone into my Mill Hill beads and pulled something out. But now if I use these, they were all weird. So different sizes, different shapes, skinny, fat, broken. And I'm like, oh my Lord. So I spent ages pulling them out. And in the end, I'm like, you know what? They're berries. It doesn't matter if they're a little bit uneven. They still look good. So yeah, so beaded. That's satin stitch. That's leaf stitch. So this I have used for the Daily 30, the monthly smalls event. That's the word I'm looking for. And this is specialty stitches. So that prompt is complete because I finished this on the 1st of February. I am so happy and I've done that. Yeah, so 170 stitches. It sat there from 2019 until 2026 with only 170 stitches left in it. Yeah, done. So that meant I had to play with the wheel. Hang on, mouse. I had to play with the wheel and get myself a new replacement whip for the haven't touched in years category. So the one I chose is this one here called Peace to My Heart. This is a hands-on design one. Maybe if I do that, I can make it a little bit smaller. It's not very easy to see. So it's a hands-on design freebie that she puts out every year for her anniversary. And there's a new one due. I think my email said the other day that I got, there's a new one due any day now. I started this on the 6th of February 2019. See the recurring theme with all these? And yeah, so but this one is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh feldspar. And I am using my Silks for You. It's really gorgeous, gorgeous purple, green, very, very pale green mix of silk. And it's probably a bit pale on this fabric, but it actually looks not too bad. So this has been my starting point. I haven't done anything on it yet this year. I'm currently, I think I added them up, what I had done. I've only done 142 stitches on this so far. So I'm going to work on that and get that finished this month. There's not a huge amount to do. Now, there is a patchwork, like a little heart that you patchwork and stitch on it. I'm not doing that. I'll be stitching a heart. And I just need to go and let my dog out. I'll be 2 secs. Okay, back again. So yes, so basically that is Peace to My Heart will be my replacement for Holly House in the category of haven't stitched in years. Now, I haven't done anything on Mini Paris Morning yet, so that will obviously come out as well. And the temperatures that have come up for the new week has of tomorrow. So tomorrow is 33, then 34, 35, 36, 37, 35. Now, this week, we were supposed to get 37 and 33 on the 1st and the 2nd. Both of those days, we got 40 down here, where I am. There was, I think, 42 at the airport yesterday. So, yeah, it's been hot. We have sort of got a bit of a cooler day today, I believe. But, yeah, so projected temperatures... sometimes I don't know whether I should be doing what actually happens or projected, because they're not always right. But I do take the projected temperatures like today for what is happening as of tomorrow and going forward. So with that draw, I will have, so the haven't touched in years came up, but I've done, because I did the 170 on Holly House, I'm essentially ahead of the game on that one now. Then tomorrow, Minnie Mouse card for the mini kits came up. Then on the 6th, it's, she's settling down again, Mini Paris Morning. On the 7th, it's Santa's Express. So that's a new start. So that's the first time that's appeared now for the month. So we'll pull that out now and start that in the next couple of days. Then the 8th, it will be Peace to My Heart. And then on the 9th, it'll be back to Mini Paris Morning. So I'll have about 100 stitches to do on Mini Paris Morning. So I'll probably pull that out around the weekend or something and see how we go. But yeah, so far, yeah, we're not doing too bad with our temperature stitching. I'm managing to reasonably keep up, so I'm really happy with that. British Bake Off. Okay, so the Great British Bake Off, as I mentioned, has finished. So Series 16 has now finished. I was toying with the idea of following along with Jen, the Caffeinated Crafters, Series 5 or Collection 5 stitching that she's doing at the moment, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is get my Bake Off stuff done, and also my Sewing Bee stuff done, and then I'm going to play Myelstönn Manor. I don't know what whips I'm using yet. I've gone and bought my dice, so I've got my dice. I went and got some D&D dice from the game shop the other day. But as for what whips I'm going to use, I'm not sure. So I'm going to start that probably next month. I'm not going to try and do it this month because I need to spend some time actually planning the whips and working through what my sort of hit points are going to be and stuff like that. And I've got to go back and rewatch that video that Jessie Marie did as well. So that's Jessie Marie's invention, Myelstönn Manor. So yeah, so I will try and do the right thing and link that video below. She's got it in her video, so it'll be easy for me to go and grab that link from her video. So I shall do that. But I'm quite looking forward to that. I think it'll be quite interesting. When she first talked about it last year, I was sort of like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And then I've been watching her videos. I've caught up on her videos over the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, I like this idea. I think I'm going to do it. So yeah, but we'll work out what we're going to do once I've got a bit more headway in my Bake Off and my Sewing Bee stitching. And it will be only for full coverage. I'm not doing it for non-full coverage. I think that'd be too hard for milestones. So what did I do for Bake Off this week? Well, the only one I worked on this week for Bake Off was my Story Keep wine shelf. So the other stitches are still outstanding on some of the other things, but we're going to talk wine shelf anyway. And this is pretty much how I'm going to do it, is I'll eliminate whatever stitches I need to do per whip and then do it that way. So this whip is a Heaven and Earth Designs charting, and the artist is Aimee Stewart. I started it on the 3rd of August 2024. This is the Story Keep version, so this is a cropped version. I do have the full piece, but I decided I would do the Story Keep version instead. And I seem to recall I started it for a challenge where I needed a bottle of wine or something, and I didn't want to start the full one, so I went and bought the Story Keep, and rather than crop it myself. So yeah, it's done. Start again. Stitched on 25 count easy guide 1/1 full cross. Now, you saw this when I did my whip parade for 2025, because I did work on it last year, and it was sitting at 2,908 stitches completed for 7.89%. I worked on it in the last week and done 478 stitches. So 252 towards the end of January, and then another 226 stitches on the 1st and the 2nd so far this month. So I'm pulling it out for about 100 stitches a day at the moment. So total for 2026 is 478. I have a super stupid lofty goal that I know I'm not going to get, and that is I've set this up for full coverage focus for a finish, which means I need to get 33,000 odd stitches to finish it. It is, no, why haven't I got the stitch count size? Oh, I'm an idiot. I haven't put that in. Oh, well, never mind. I can find it very quickly. Where's me? I'll pause for a second. Okay, so size-wise, it is 112 wide by 329 high, which gives us a total of 36,000, bring it over here because I can't read it, 36,648, sorry, 848 stitches. 848? Yeah, 848 stitches in total in that chart. And so to finish it, I need to do around about 2,800 stitches a month, which is why I'm sort of thinking, do I leave it out all month to get 100 stitches a day on this, make this my second focus for the day? Because if I want to finish it, as I mentioned, I've got to get 33,462 stitches in it for to finish it this year. Now, that's a very lofty goal, and yeah, it's not going to happen. It is actually slated in my own personal planning to finish next year. So yeah, but that's okay. I'm going to go for it. It may not get very far, but we'll see how we go. So far I have completed 3,386 stitches for 9.19%. So yeah, very long way to go. But I have used this for my Bake Off stitching, and I've still got another 300 odd stitches, I think, so another 348 stitches to do to finish out the Bake Off stitches for this. So really all I have been doing, now you probably can't see a lot of that, hopefully that is showing up, because that is 762 and 3865, I think. But yeah, and filling in the tree. I've got a few blank spaces in here to fill in, but I think they're 762 as well. So yeah, this is where it's at the moment. Now, I did have this on a tiny Q-snap, which was just about here to here, but I've now extended the Q-snap so that I have now got the full width of the chart. So my plan now is, obviously I'm here, but I'm going to work right across to the edge of the chart and then work down. Now, I was sort of thinking, can I convert this to do row by row? But I don't think so. I don't know. I'm doing obviously 6 portals in a sort of a row by row because of the nature of the chart. of how I'm stitching that with the portals. But yeah, I'm not sure. I love when I watch Anne, the Max Color Stitcher, I do love how hers looks when she stitches row by row, and in the typewriter method of stitching Mummy, but I don't know if I can be that strict because I like going down when I stitch, but I'm going to try it. So once I get this tidied up, my idea is, you'll see, you probably can't see, but I've already started to try and keep to this row, but obviously I have stitched down a bit as well. But once I get out of this whitish sky bit, I am going to give it a go. I want to finish all of this off here as well and clean all this up, so that once I get to about here, I'm going to see if I can do row by row across to the side until I come down to here, and then I'll do row across. So I'm going to give it a go. I've got to get this into a position where it'll be easier to do anyway. But no, I'm reasonably happy that I can pull this out, and I'm going to just see if I can try and work on it. If I don't do it every day, at least touch it every week and get some sort of 500-600 stitches in a week, I'll be happy. So 2,800 stitches this month is basically 100 stitches a day. And then once I've finished that for my bake-off, I'll work on another whip for my bake-off. Now, Great British Sewing Bee. Oh my goodness, I'm an hour already. Oh my Lord, this is going to be a long one. Great British Sewing Bee. I have got week 10, the grand final, coming on Thursday night. So the week 9 update was Sewer 3, which is Dressmaker's Daughter, won the transformation challenge, but lost the pattern challenge and was eliminated. Did not do very well in the final challenge. So in all, I added 450 stitches to Dressmaker's Daughter, which means I've now got 1,750 stitches to do on that. I'm going to pull that out this month and just see if I can get over my mental block about that fabric. Sewer 6, which is Air Goddess, that person won the pattern challenge, so they got another 100 stitches added to it. Now has 750 stitches owing. Sewer 12 is my Storykeeper Brush with Magic. My stitches are up to date for that one because I was a bit ahead, and that person actually lost the transformation, but won the overall garment, and that garment was stunning, absolutely stunning. So that got an extra 250 stitches, and I'm up to date. I've actually got a little bit in lieu. So we now have 3 people left, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. So 2 of them are Air Goddess and Brush with Magic, and the third one that's left is Cat Race. So Cat Race, my stitches are up to date now because I worked on Cat Race. And as I mentioned in my last video, I had to do 1,000 stitches in blue for my Down Under Divas challenge, and I completed that. So I'm very happy to say that I actually managed to do a Down Under Divas colour challenge, which I normally don't get to finish. So you saw this in Flosstube number 72, and at that point I had completed 8,559 stitches, and it was sitting at 2.63%. I put in 469 stitches the other day, which meant for January I had completed 1,216 in total. It is now sitting at 9,028 stitches, or 2.77%. This is stitched on 25 count Lugana 1/1 full cross. The name of the design is Cat Race. The artist is Jeff Haynie, and it is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The chart size is 675 wide by 483 high, which gives us a total of 326,025 stitches. Now, as I mentioned, I'm at 2.77%. So I have a very, very long way to go. But I do have a monthly goal of this of 700 stitches a month. So blitzed my monthly goal for January. Very happy with that. My 2026 goal is to get it to 5%, which would mean I need to have this sitting at 16,301 stitches in total. I've still got 7,273, and I want to make this a reasonable focus this year because I really loved working in this. I'm so happy to work in this. So I did this. Now it is a blue. I know it looks grey, but it is a blue. What was it? 156? Can't remember. But it is blue. It's a grey blue, but it's blue. So yes, so that's all I've done. All of this here was my full January stuff. And to finish it off, I've just filled in these areas here and that one. That was my 400 stitches. So what I will do when it comes out again, because obviously it's still in the running for Sewing Bee. So depending on how that person goes in the final, I will have to do some more stitches. And I will, because I've come down here, but I'm going to continue across here now and get that done. I just love this. Love it. So this is my cat race. So it is slated to do some more challenge work for February. Right, let's mosey along, and we'll get to that in a minute. So Whip Go, February draw, which I mentioned is number 5 was Give Thanks. I've already finished that, and 22 is Maidens of the Season. So I haven't done any work on that, and I didn't do anything on Sonura for January. Right, February plans, very quickly. This I'll try and be as quick as I can. So daily 30, the yearly event, I've got 3 whips on that, which is Fairytale, Deskins, and a Brush with Magic. So that's just stitching the sites of every Olympics, and I've completed 6 of those. 5 of them were with Fairytale and 1 with a Brush with Magic, and I'm working on number 7. So I've got to bring a Brush with Magic out to work on that, and Deskins has had no work so far. The monthly acrostic for this month is Primroses with an asterisk, because Primroses doesn't quite make the whole, what's the word? 10. That's the word I'm looking for, it's only 9. So P, I'm using portals, so 6 portals. R is a rose, which is Fairytale. Icy Cold, 6 portals. M for the moon, which will be Haunted House. R for Rosa, so Eder, Jose, Rosa for Flamingo in flowers. O is the orange leaves in Haunted House. S is Story Keep the Wine Shelf, because Aimee Stewart is the artist. Proverbs 3 and 4, I'm going to use that for E and use eggs, because the cat has the eggs in the basket and also that eggs hatching. And then S, I'm using Wine Shelf again, because I've said the sky, because there's quite a broad expanse of sky. And then the 10th one is a free choice letter, so I'm just going to use F for Flamingo and just use Flamingo and flowers. The monthly smalls and ornament long challenge, as I mentioned, the smalls one, specialty stitches, I've used Holly House done. The holiday ornament will be Santa's Express, which will be a new start. Seasonal winter, I'm going to use Home for the Holidays potentially for that, and see if I can get some work in that and maybe even finish it. I don't think I'll finish it, but try and get some work in it. The freebie magazine or gifted category, I'm using Minnie Mouse. And Bring on the Beads is plants. I don't think I've got anything that's got plants with beads that's small, unless I use Into the Wood, because it's got trees, but I don't know if that works. Bingo, full coverage fanatics. Okay, I mentioned I did go through all of those. Now my focus is one line across, which will be sewing and crafting design is going to be Quarantine Cats. Purple, green and blue is 6 portals. Design starting with D, N or A will be Deskins. Friendly Scene, I'm using World Travel Bookshelf for, and Books World Travel Bookshelf. I am going to see if I can get that second last row done. Now, I have allocated whips to the other ones, but I want to focus on one row. When I get those done, then obviously I'll see if I can get anything else completed. Also, the Winter Olympics starts in a couple of days. I know there's some pre-ceremony events starting, I think, tomorrow in Italy. But the Full Coverage Fanatics does have a Winter Olympics event starting on the 6th and running through to the 22nd of February. So basically, your stitch count will be based on the gold medals that your country will win. So for each gold medal will be 150 stitches. Silver will be 150 for a bronze. Now, Australia tends to win bronze more than anything else, if they get any. I think we've got a gold in the ski jump ones, I think. I can't remember from last year. But anyway, my choice is a long winter snap. It's a winter scene or a winter whip. So I thought I would just focus on one rather than put a different whip against each of those. So you'll see that quite a bit, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks. Now, down under Divas. Okay, so the deck of whips this week was an easy one for me. It was the 5 of spades, and my spades whip is Fairytale. So interestingly enough, the red hearts has not yet been drawn. Out of the 5 draws, we've had spades twice, I think. Spades twice. We've had diamonds once and clubs twice. No, spades must have been 3 times. Spades is now 3 times. And hearts has not yet been drawn. So descants has not yet had to come out to play for that. Alphabet challenge for this month is C and D. So I'm being really ambitious here. Pattern title starting with a C or a D, cat race, 2,000 stitches. Said ambitious, so you'll see it. Descants, one starting with D, 2,000 stitches. That probably won't happen. Designer name starting with a C or a D. Well, I'm going for Donna Gelsinger, so 1,000 stitches on Haunted House, maybe. A prompt to repeat the prompt for the colour or the designer. Well, I'm going for designer for Dragon Muse, so 1,000 stitches on Fairytale. There won't be an issue with that. C is for Christmas. Well, I'm going for Long Winter Snap, which is 500. C is for Crown World Travel Bookshelf, 500. Those two, no issue. C is for Cup and D is for Dog. I'm using Mini Paris Morning, 500 stitches for each of those prompts. I won't have an issue because I need to stitch on that anyway. And then D is for Dress. I'm using World Travel Bookshelves for another 500. So yeah, the big ones are the 2,000 ones that are going to cause the issue. Whip Warriors. So the Stitch and Seek, that came out on Monday, Tuesday, Monday, yesterday. When was the first? Monday. So this is going to be a bit tricky with some of my whips. So the first one is a rabbit or a hare or a bunny. Got to have a look for that. A rose, well, I'm using Fairytale because there's roses in that. A bed, so you've got to have a whip with a bed in it. So 4 legs, mattress, pillow type bed. I did think about my Mirabilia Sleeping Beauty, but that you can't really see that that's a bed specifically that she's lying in. Or I could take a photo of my bed with my whip if I wanted to do that. A heart, either a diagram of a heart. So I've got a couple of whips that have got hearts in it, so we should be all right with that one. Teddy bear, you can't use any other soft toy, it has to be a teddy bear. So I've got a plan for that because I don't think Quarantine Cats has a teddy bear in it, but I have a plan. The colour red, you've got to do at least 100 stitches instead of the, so you've got to do 200 for the prompt, but at least 100 stitches has to be red. Not sure about that one yet. Chocolate, so any form of chocolate except the colour. I'm toying up with that one because I just need to have a look at Mini Paris Morning and see if the croissant that she's got on her plate looks like a chocolate croissant. But we'll see. This is the one that's completely got me stumped. A horse and carriage has to be in the whip. I don't have anything. I've thought about a new start because I know there's an Owl Forest one. It's funny, I saw somebody is stitching on that. I can't think what it's called, but that's got a horse and carriage. I've had a quick look at a couple of full coverage to do a new start. Nah. I thought about Cinderella because I've got Mirabilia Cinderella. There is no horse and carriage in that. So yeah, so that might be a penalty one. I might have to take a penalty on that one. A dress again for this one. It has to be a dress, so World Travel Bookshop. Or if I'm bringing out Dressmaker's Daughter, I can use that. And a Cupid. Now this has to be the cute little cherub Cupid, not an angel, not the reindeer. I don't think I've got anything for a Cupid, but I know Brooks Books did a freebie Cupid and I got that somewhere, so that might end up being a new start. We'll see. They're also doing a Winter Olympics event in Whip Warriors. So it'll be based on your medals won by your home country. And then you had to choose another country based on, I think it was the top 10 medal winners over the years. So yeah, so I chose Australia and using Fairytale, and Switzerland I'm going to use Cat Race because I've got to get stitches in anyway. And Switzerland are likely to get a lot of medals. So 200 for gold, 100 for silver and 50 for bronze. It's all about the Olympics this month. So Semi-Zane Stitches, they've got 3 events going on for Olympics. I probably will only do one. There's one I won't be doing. One of them is in a marathon event, which you have one whip and you watch and stitch every day. You take a photo of your whip when you sit down to watch the Olympics. Well, given time zones, we're not going to see much of it. We'll see a bit sort of for a couple of hours in the afternoon, evening-ish. But I'm not going to really be able to see much of it. So that could be a bit tricky. So I'm not going to do that one. But you can do the Olympic decathlon event. So you can pick 10 whips and do the stitches on them based on a level of, so sane, semi-sane or insane levels. So I might pick the 10 whips and do that. Or I might pick the next one, which is the Olympic Medals Challenge, which is 3 whips, so 1 for each type of medal, and then add the stitches based on the medals won by your country. And the stitch count would be sane, semi-sane or insane. So I may do that, so we'll see. And of course there's the February challenge, which is Fairytale for the focus, 1,000 stitches, every 1,000 stitches you post. And then they're also doing love songs and romantic movies. I probably won't do that, but it's stitching the length of the movie or the song. The 2026 calendar sale. I need to get back to Winter Welcome because that's the one I've split into 12 equal parts, which I need to stitch on. And so I need to get back, and I'm now supposed to be stitching in February. I've got to finish January and February, so I'm already behind. The stitching log, which is the one where you choose a new start and you then stitch a goal. Mine is 10% of what I stitched for the month, excluding the stitches that will be included on that particular whip. So I have to start Freak, which is a Carolyn Manning Shooting Star Collection design, and I will need to do 1,486 stitches on that to get myself up to date, and then I'm going to try and stitch weekly, but we'll see how we go. So next week, these are my plans for next week. Daily stitches on Fairytale, Flamingo and Flowers on Friday, 6 portals, basically try and work on that on the weekend with the name to get about 500 stitches during that time. And the Story Keep Wine Shelf, I'm going to try and work on that every day for 100 stitches, but if not, then the minimum I want for that is 1,000 stitches, and then that will complete it for Bake Off and whatnot. Temperature stitching, we'll start on Piece to My Heart at least to get that done, and see if I can get some Mini Paris Morning done, but I'm not going to push myself on that just yet. I want to start Freak. I want to start the Seagull. And for the Sewing Bee, the whip I'm working on for that still is Proverbs 3 and 4. And we'll see if we can bring Dressmaker's Daughter out at some point in February to do that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's your weekly update. 1 hour and 14 minutes. Whew. That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of talking for how many whips did I actually show you? Not that many, but that's okay. It's always going to be a big one at the end and the start, end of one month, the start of another one. And, you know, I could do it in 2. I could do a monthly wrap up, but then that would be probably really short, because a monthly wrap up with the plans for February, and then just do my February one. It may be that that's what I'm going to end up doing if these start becoming a bit too long, but we'll see how we go. But anyway, I'm going to go because I desperately need to go and make myself another cup of tea. Use some of that water that's in the kettle and hope that the water comes back on at some point shortly. But anyway, so thank you for visiting with me today, and thank you for listening to my ramblings, and thank you for taking an interest in my whips, and thank you for listening to my dog snoring. I do hope she hasn't been too noisy throughout this. Sometimes I listen to them when I'm editing and I'm going, oh my God, there she is again. Snore, snore. What would you do without her? So I do hope that you enjoyed the frolic through my whips for the week. I would like to say thank you very much for continuing support of my channel and my stitching, and I really do appreciate people who take the time out to watch, comment, like, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And please let me know how you found me too, because sometimes that's interesting to know if somebody has maybe mentioned me or something, or have just come up in your feed. And that's sort of, it is nice. I apologize, I'm not the best person at remembering to respond back to comments, but I do appreciate the comments, and I do eventually get back to you in about a week or so. Sometimes I get on a roll and I'm right up to date, and then I fall back out of commenting again. But I will probably be commenting when I edit this, waiting for it to upload. So I do appreciate anybody who does comment though. Thank you very much. So thank you again for visiting, liking, subscribing, commenting, and just generally sitting here and spending an hour or so with me while I frolic through my whips. So I'm going to go now, and I will see you again next week. So I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you get lots of stitches done, and I'll see you again soon. Catch you later. Happy stitching. See you. Bye.